everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about how we can evaluate sources when we are doing our research and when we can go ahead and try to find the sources that are most useful to us in a world where there are many sources out there. So how do we find the ones we're interested in? First step can be to go to Eastern's library. So why don't we do that? Okay, now that we're here, let's think of something to research. Maybe we are interested in spiders and technology. Let's see what comes up, right? It's kind of random, but one great way to research is by trying out different search terms, being more specific and coming up with keywords that you might even find from other sources that you've read or you've looked through. But let's see what we've got. Hopefully some results here. All right, we actually have 4,248 results. So why don't you guys get reading on your 4,248 results? Go ahead, go through, read them all. Just kidding. So of course, we don't have enough time, as much as we might hope, to read 4,248 books or articles on the relationships between spiders and technology, right? So what we're going to do is find different ways that we can evaluate these sources right from the beginning. Now, we have this Spiders in Rice, a research review, and we can see that the subjects are technology and engineering. So that might be something that's interesting to us, or it might not. So one way we can think about this is by going through the filters here. How can we get something that we would like? Peer-reviewed articles are usually the best articles, and I would always check this when you're doing your research to find the most credible sources as fast as possible. If you're working on something that might have to deal a little bit more with pop culture and not so much with the heavy academic type of research that you will be doing at sometimes, but in certain assignments you might not be, you don't really get the amount of articles that you want when you check this box, you can always uncheck it because Eastern's library is a place to find credible sources for the most part. So you don't always have to have it checked, but I always like to have it checked, especially if I get more than 100 results, just so I can see how it will narrow down my sources. Now, we might not be interested in what people were saying in the past 10 years, or maybe we are. And if you wanted to look up what people might have been saying about spiders and technology 100 years ago, you can use a custom range. But usually we would like to have resources that are more relevant to this time. So we can pick in the past year. What has been published in the past year about spiders and technology? Another place that you can use your filtering tool is in the subject. So if you have a specific interest in technology and spiders, which is what we searched for, we click technology and we don't worry about any of the other ones for now. You can see how many hits they got on the side here. Now, you also can filter by source type if you know you want something in the news, if you want an ebook, if you want academic journals. I'm not going to do that because I'm interested in all different source types. If you know that you definitely want a journal or you definitely want a book, you can go ahead and check that. And then the last thing is language. Maybe you are able to speak multiple languages and that's amazing. You can go ahead and check those. But in my case, I am only able to fluently read and speak English. So I'll click English. We've got 6 filters now. And so we are going to see how many sources we come up with after applying these filters. We originally had 4,248. After we apply the filters, we have, that was my sad attempt at a drum roll, 24. Now that is a great way to narrow down your sources if I've ever seen one. So now we have 24 articles to go through. Now, it might not be exactly what you're looking for. So you're going to have to go through and say, all right, what is multi-objective short-term hydrothermal scheduling using social spider algorithm? I don't know if that's exactly what we're looking for. Spider might mean something different than the critter that we're talking about. And so we scroll down. What about biocompatible optical fibers made of regenerated cellulose and recombinant and recombinant cellulose binding spider silk? The fabrication of green optical waveguides based on cellulose and spider silk might allow the processing of novel biocompatible materials. That might be something that we find interesting. So let's give it a click. And now we have the next page once you click on the title of a source. And you can look, we got the title, we've got the authors, the publication year, and then we have subject terms. So you might not know what attenuation is, and this might not be for you, and you might go back. You might realize, you know what, I don't know what attenuation is, but photodynamic therapy is exactly what I'm thinking about. So you might decide that. And you can find in your subject terms how relevant this source is going to be. So you're evaluating it right from the start without even fully reading it yet. Then there will likely be some sort of description or abstract within this source for you to decide, again, whether or not this source is going to be or might be something that serves your purpose. And so read the description. If you decide, yeah, this is actually really interesting, and even though it's a little bit dense, I might be able to figure out a way to work with it, you can then go to this part here where you go to your access options and you go to your journal here. And you've got your abstract, you can click and you can read it online, and you have access. So that's what finding sources and evaluating your sources entails. Once you actually get to your source, you want to read it as carefully as possible. And that's our short video on how you can make the most out of your research by evaluating your sources and making sure that they are what you're looking for, narrowing them down and making your research a little bit easier. As always, if you have any questions, please email your instructor and or attend the optional class that will be available to you during the week.